Our protagonist has been caught wantonly rubbing his member all over Miss Florence's bicycle, and she's not happy about it. As most of us wouldn't be. I mean, it's her bicycle. She rides it every day to do, to live her life, and then this kid's just rubbing his junk all over it. Granted, I don't know if I would birch him for it, but, she's got the tools necessary to get that done, so, can we blame her? Can we? I know you love this.
Leon.
I know you do. To make your punishment more piquant, she said, you shall fashion the birch for your own backside. I take it you have some idea of what proper flogging birch looks like? I nodded, with every appearance of wretchedness, but my pulse racing with joy. You know where the birch grove is. There will be some fine new branches just now, so in a few days I'll administer your punishment. Mummy will be busy with her flower gardening, and Daddy will be abroad on business, so I'll take you to the summer house by the lake. We shall be quite private. I jumped as I felt her fingers touch the bare skin of my bottom. I think you can take a good solid birch. Let's say 18 rods, not a prissy dozen. That way I can birch you till you weep. And in the summer house there will be no one to hear. Bring me the birch when you fashion it, boy, and if it is not hard enough for my liking, you'll have to make it over, and make 2 birches, for your cowardice will earn you a second birching the very next day. A proper birching, you see, quite exhausts one instrument, and if you are brave, well, I might forget to tell Mommy and Daddy about your filthiness. She paused in the doorway. You really think me beautiful? Oh, yes, miss, yes. She smiled thinly. Then your birching shall be that much harder. With that, she flounced her gorgeous tresses and stalked away without a backward look. In an ecstasy of passion, I rushed naked from the shed, not caring who saw me, and protected from my immodesty only by my shirt clutched on my swollen member. I hurried to the lake and plunged in, and the first touch of the water, I imagined it her birch twigs caressing my organ, made me spurt almost at once. That night I could hardly sleep, and lay awake with a pounding heart and rigid penis, listening to the excited chirping of crickets, which in my fevered brain seemed more intense than usual, to be punished, and at the hands of my goddess, my mistress, as I now permitted myself to think of her, to be humiliated, birched on my bare bottom to sobbing, helpless agony. I could imagine no greater terror and no greater happiness. Oh, Roger, you're not healthy. The next day, and the days that followed, our routine continued as imperturbably as always. Miss Florence took no notice of me at all, any more than she ever did, and I took great pride and satisfaction in the gravity of my demeanor, so much that Dido remarked on it. I explained that I was studying hard. In reality, I was in the birch grove, my trembling fingers selecting the hardest, juiciest branches for my own chastisement. But I made 2 birches, one a veritable bush of 20 rods, 4 feet in length. I secreted in the birch grove and presented my mistress with another pitiable thing of only a dozen of the thinnest, feeblest rods. Please, miss, I don't think my bottom could take any more. Bear, I whimpered. As I had surmised, she became angry, and I had been warned, and had now earned 2 birchings. Then I fetched my real birch and duly presented her with the fearsome engine, my throat dry as I wondered if I had bitten off more than I could chew. but delirious with the joy that I could serve my mistress to myself, that I should have my mistress to myself for 2 sets of punishment. She swished the birch with a rushing, cracking sound, approved it, and told me to make a second just like it. Yet, always a doubt nagged me. I knew I could take the cane, but the birch was an unknown quantity, and my mistress was right. This dreadful anticipation did give a nuance of delight to my impending punishment, though perhaps not exactly as she intended. She could not possibly imagine that a young man craved a birching from her on his naked bottom. Or could she? The day came. Early in the morning. I made my way on her instructions to the little summer house. She was not there to greet me as I had hoped. Rather, there was a note in her handwriting, in lilac ink. Well, if she was described as being sapphic, it might be lavender ink, and not lilac. But what do I know? "You shall attire yourself fittingly for your humiliation," was all it said. I looked around me. The summer house was sparsely furnished, a simple wooden ping-pong table, assorted chairs, a sort of couch on which was laid out a suit of clothing. It proved to be a schoolboy's uniform, neatly pressed and cleaned, but somewhat dusty. I frowned, not sure what to make of this. It was clear she wished me to dress as a schoolboy for my chastisement. With a grimace, I stripped naked and began to put on the uniform, which fitted well enough, though it was a trifle small. There was a gray flannel shirt, a striped tie, blazer and school cap, and, to my puzzlement, a pair of short flannel trousers that came far above my knee. There were no panties, which made rueful sense to me, since I knew she intended to administer the birch on the bear. I slipped on the shorts over my naked buttocks, where they fitted very snugly, although the bulge of my manhood was only accommodated with some discomfort. I trembled and blushed, feeling superbly humiliated. Not only did she intend to birch me bare, but I was to be shamefully garbed as an oik, as we at Eppingham used to refer to junior boys. I don't know what the fuck that is. I worship my mistress all the more for this subtle cruelty. I heard her steps coming through the undergrowth, and then a crisp clacking of her shoes on the stairs. For an instant my mind confused the sound with the crickets chirping that I had heard nightly. Then she appeared, icy and serene, her eyes and lips glinting in a mistress's vengeful beauty. I leapt to my feet and stood trembling before her, head bowed, and my hands meekly behind my back. We'll get to the rest of this in another video.